he says that he went through a lot of manomanthan, lot of thinking, and he came to Buddha. He says, please forgive me. I have done a sin. I spitted on you. It was not called for. Please forgive my actions. So Buddha says, pardon is given only if I had anger for you. Then I become a giver of forgiveness. But if I am not holding on any anger, even when you did whatever you did, there is no reason for any action. There was no reason for anger, and there is no reason for forgiveness. Nothing has happened. Who am I going to forgive? Because I don't even have an anger against you. Buddha said that if you had come to me 10 years ago, I could have done a lot of things. But 10 years is a long time. I have gone through the journey. I have given up Gautama, and I am a Buddha at this level. I don't have anything against anyone. That's winning over the krodh. That's winning over your man, your ego. What will happen after leaving this lecture if somebody spits on us? Things will be totally different than in Buddha's world.
We'll blame you.
So, we have krodh in us, whether we accept it or not. We sit down in the temple, we sit down in the scriptural lectures and say, yes, everything feels good. But the truth comes when something happens. When actually things happen in reality, and if we still don't have anger, then we know that we have reached somewhere. Same thing, we have our greed. Every dollar bill, there is no dollar bill says greed on it. Greed is our creation. It's a piece of paper. But our inner greed is what makes us run after. Could it be a dollar bill, or it could be a diamond, or it could be anything. The greed for acquiring things is again our creation. It's not, world has nothing to do with that. But that internal realization comes in when we go further deep into meditation. We realize that thoughts keep on happening. Thoughts are happening has nothing to do with mind. Mind is just a tool that's given to us. It's not the fault of the mind. Don't fight with your mind either. It's your own mind who have created with your own vasanas and your vrittis. You just observe how the mind is working, how the whole process is happening. Just by observation, mind starts losing its power. The greed, the krodh, the ego starts dying down. But that's the process. You don't have to do anything. You don't become a doer to fight your mind. Otherwise, you're utilizing another part of your mind to fight the one part of the mind. And you are going to lose out. Same thing, beautiful girls have not written, desires or calm on their face either. So we are walking around with the venomous within. And that's where we have to do. The ego is the last thing it's going to drop off. Krodh, everybody understands. Greed, everybody understands. Lustfulness, everybody understands. But ego is something that is so deeply engraved within us, and it manifests every little thing. Right from the childhood, we've been called our names. Now, in the beginning, it's an exercise. We have to be reminded, you are this, you are this, you are this. And after a while, we grow up, and then we start believing that this is what we are. So that identification is the ego that gives you an individual identity, because it's practical. That's how the society is created, and that's how the society operates. But even that is fake because it's given to us. And that becomes the part of your unconscious mind. At the conscious level, say you are driving new for the first time. You have to be really cautious. You worry about the clutch, the paddles, this and that, the brake, the wheels, everything. But at the conscious level, because you have to be conscious so that you don't get into an accident. After 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, then it goes at the very, very subconscious level. You are driving and you're not even thinking about it. Before you even know, you reached your destination. So the ego, the manifested part of the ego and unmanifested part of ego are two different animals altogether. You go into a room and people are sleeping, and you call Ram. There may be 100 people, but only Ram will wake up. Everybody heard, but only the Ram, even though he's in a deeper sleep, oh, he's calling me. So, lot of those things. So that ego is going to be the last enemy that you have to deal with. And that requires a lot of sadhana, lot of realization, lot of reflection. The observation, the awareness at the meditation level is a beautiful tool that's given to us. Just the way to appreciate the world, we need the sunlight. You may have pictures of Picasso or very extremely, expensive paintings and whatever may be in the house. But to see that, you need the sunlight. Without sunlight, nothing happens. That's how limited we are. The same way, to look at all the sheets, all the workings of the sheets, how they are deranged, where the problem is, all those things, you're going to need the light of awareness. Without light of awareness, nothing will happen. And it is there. Everybody has it. Whether we know it or not, whether we perceive it or not, that's a different story. But once you start perceiving, you will see the power of awareness. So, and the another one, last one we said, is the Maya. Maya is also another very tough one to crack, because Maya is the illusion that the world has something to give you. No matter what happens to the last point, we will go back to the sansar to give us a solution. For us, sansar is God. For sansar is everything. Anytime we need something, that's called clinging, that Patanjali calls abhinivesh. So that Maya is the illusion. The reason the illusion is there, because we have not waken up. We are sleeping. And because we are sleeping, the whole world looks real to us. Just like in the dream. Dream seems real. You cannot argue with somebody who is a dreamer, and for him, whatever is happening in the dream is real. It will stay as a dream, but for him it will be real until he wakes up. And once he wakes up, the dream becomes a dream. Until then, it was a reality. The same way, sansar, as it is a dream, but only for the people who have waken up. If you don't wake up, this is real. And you cannot argue with somebody who calls this real, because it's all internal reflection that you have to go through to reach that state of awakeness while watching the dream. Imagine if you are awake at night watching the dream and you know it's a dream, how often is that going to happen? We all go through the dream realizing it's the reality. And for us, it's not a dream until we wake up. So it's a very, very tough situation to reach to. It's very, very tricky. It's almost reaching to the peak, but then falling off the peak is also there. So when the sansar, which to the enlightened ones is a dream, if we consider sansar as real, not naturally we're going to run after sansar for all our pleasures, all our needs, all our love, all our affections, all our achievement, goals, whatever. Naturally our run is towards the dream. But any time there is a run towards the sansar, you are living in a dream, no matter what. So awakening has to take place within us. But arihants have reached over that too. They are in 24/7 awake state. That's why Buddha was called Buddha. The dhyan has waken up. And at that level, for them, the sansar is finished. Whatever they were running after, and they did, just like you and me, they also did. They were running after the sansar for this and sansar. They have seen the futility of all these things. And they have reached the third dimension. So far, they had only the dimension of the sansar. They have reached to a state of turiya, from where they are seeing the whole sansar as a dream. And to reach that, our journey has to go within on the bridge of awareness. Awareness is going to take us there. So, arihants have won over Krodh, Kam, Lobh, Maya, Aham, Agnan, all these things, and they have reached the arihant state. So, but we are not. We are either doing Krodh or trying to win over the Krodh. But for us, Krodh is always there. Krodh is our enemy, so we have to continuously battle with that enemy. Either we have greed, or we think that greed is bad, so we are in the process of getting rid of the greed. So we are continuously fighting the greed. So Kam, the same thing. We have lustful thoughts, but then we say, no, it's so bad. So let me try to purify. Let me go to the temple. And then maybe 15, 20 minutes in the temple will calm it down. We are not coming out of the lust. We are not coming out of the greed. They are continuously present in our mind all the time. So we are either creating new ego, either maintaining our ego, fighting with everybody, or trying to get rid of the ego because somebody told that ego is bad, because somebody told stealing is bad. You have to know that stealing is bad. Somebody comes and tell you has no value. Just because he's saying that, he may be doing more stealing from your pockets than you could be stealing from somebody else's pocket. If I put my hands in your pocket, I get $10 or probably $100. If you are Ramesh Bhai, with the model owners, I can get a little more. But he is doing at a bigger level. He's doing at a big sabha. There are like thousands of people at the end of the day. And Ramesh Bhai says, am I in a big wrong profession or what? So somebody telling you not to steal, not to be greedy, not to have a lust has no value until you realize that greed is bad. Then you spoke your Gita. Then you spoke your Jain Sutra or Bible. Doesn't matter. So to realize, you have to reach that Brahma state, the state of samadhi. From there, everything seems not important at all. So our aham, our ego is making us fight. Ego wants to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And yes, we are fighting, just like Mahavir or all the arihants. They also fought, but they knew that in the world, enemies are not there. I am my own enemy, and I'm going to win over my own inner enemies. So we are the slaves of our ego. Even if we lose one battle, we shake ourselves, put the new clothes on, and start fighting again. The last battle we lost big time. Somebody came and insulted you. Oh, you are nothing, this and that. And you had nothing to say because you are not. If you have $1 million, somebody walks around with the air of $100 million, what are you going to do? No matter how much you want to fight, you cannot fight. And that's the reality. So you are in the dust. You're licking your wounds. But situation changes. A week goes by. You forget what you went through. And now you're showing off with somebody who has 100,000. And the fighting goes on. Ego is your king. You are ego's slave. And when you realize this ego has not done anything for you except making you fight the battles, one after another, perpetual fight, at some point you got to quit and you have to realize that I need to enjoy my life. I don't want to keep fighting with the world, which I cannot have anyway. I want to get something out of life, but meanwhile the life is waning away from me. Every day I'm getting older. Every day something's slipping out of me for which I'm fighting. How am I going to hold on to this? So that realization is the reality. And that comes only with intellect. When your higher seat of mind starts analyzing, and then when the light of awareness falls on it, the spiritual strength comes in. That I am sufficient in myself, whatever I am. Whatever, how short I am, how tall I am, whether I have hair or not, whether I'm black, brown, yellow, red, doesn't matter. I'm happy. That's finding your true nature. You're not achieving anything. You're not reaching to any goal. The journey is only because you have gone off the track. You are happy, just like a child. All children are happy because they're living in their own state, their true nature. That's why they're happy. They're always ready to experiment different things, play with different people, this and that. They have nothing, no hang-ups, nothing. Except they don't know that. So we want to become a child, but we want to know that we are a child. And that's the tough part. We can act like a child. We can play childish, but that's not being childlike. That's the difficult part. You want to be as innocent as a child after traversing the greed that you have gone through. After going through the lust, you want to be totally calm and peaceful when a beautiful girl wants to pass by. No tarang happens. You are in a samadhi state, nothing happens because you know what samadhi is. You experience the samadhi. Then you realize, then you are in a childlike, innocent state. That's why Christ said, that the people asked them, who will enter your kingdom of heaven? So there was a child standing right next to him. He lifted him up. That anybody who is like him, not him, anybody who can become like him can enter the kingdom of heaven. That kingdom of heaven is guaranteeing you the peace. There is total freedom, no fear, because at that level there is no death. You are not the body, you are not the mind. You are in a total bliss, and infinite space is there, and that's what you are. At that level you cannot die. If death comes, it's fine. If death doesn't come, enjoy. But you're going to be in a perpetual bliss at any time. Time is gone. So fighting is not worth it. Fighting is dvanda. Dvanda is a beautiful word. It's a duel. Dvanda can happen only when there are two people. Single person cannot fight. With whom? How is he going to fight?
Even two thoughts.
Right. Even two thoughts are two thoughts. So duality is what the playground of fighting. There is a continuous fight going on. Even though not at the physical level, if you are living in a civilized society, or physical fights if you are living in uncivilized society, Iraq and Syria and all that stupidity. But don't think that we are any better. There is a continuous fight going on in our minds also.
Mind level.
The moment somebody taller walks in, I say, okay, I'm inferior. Somebody walks in and somebody shorter than you, you feel you're superior. Your car is better than his, then you feel better. Then somebody else's car is better than your car, then you feel. All these fights are going on.
But that's okay.
It's okay if you want to be.
If
in
you
that
enjoy
state.
that, it's okay.
If you enjoy that, fine. But then you will never know the peace. So Arihant is a state where there is no fighting anymore. He has reached to the peak. And mind well, he says Namo Arihantanam. It does not say Namo Mahavir. It doesn't say Namo Parshvanath. There is no individual focus on any one personality. In fact, when you reach there, you are not there anymore. Mahavir has dissolved, Parshvanath has dissolved, Krishna has dissolved. The names are there only for our identification. Miserable as we are, we need the names.
Yep.
The names are given to us only because we are children. But then on top of that, we have made fights out of it. But that was just the path given to us. So you go on that path. And so Arihant state is a state of bliss. At that level, individual personality disappears. Individual forms and figures disappears. Individual thoughts disappears. Only destination remains. Actually, the traveler also has disappeared. So actually, it's not even Namo Arihant. There is no entity like Arihant. It is the Namo to the state of bliss. And that's how we have to look at it. This Namokar is big, is very big, is infinite. Because this is to any Arihant, comes from any religion and any state, any country, and any other forms and any lokas. Lokas is a beautiful word. Lok is not what as we know. Lok is three loks: past, present, and future. So all the arihants that ever happened, they are happening right now, whether we know it or not. And whichever arihants are going to happen in the future, Namokar to all those arihants. Now you tell me, how could be there any more benign mantra than this? So that is the bhav that we have to walk with. Mangalya to anyone who can reach to that state. Now if we hold on to that mangal feeling, the divine feeling, and with appreciation, at least for souls who have reached to that state, maybe someday we also would reach there.
Is that achieved using sort of, being in a society? Or you have to
Society disappears. At that level, society disappears, thoughts disappear. Even though it's there, it's not there. It's
Sorry.
like playing a monopoly. I always give an example. When you were a kid, you played Vapar, right? The monopoly. You bought and sold the motels, and you were so excited when you made money. When you went to jail, you were so upset, angry, this and that. For you, monopoly was real. Now, if you sit down to play the monopoly, what's going to happen? You will let your kid win. Okay. You win 10,000. You're not going to fight with him, right?
What was the question? Sorry, I missed that.
No, is this
So living in a sansar, can you reach that state?
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you can.
Sansar is just an illusion.
You transcend, yeah.
Now, the monopoly is a game for you. At one time, it was real. The same way, you can still play monopoly. You're not going to refuse that, oh, no, I am a grown-up. I cannot play. I am a sadhu. I cannot be in a sansar. That's stupidity. The real test of your sadhuness is in sansar. Being walking away from wife
That's so true.
and being peaceful is one thing.
It's easy.
You try. Or vice versa. You live with the husband. You know that, who was that? There was
Use the word spouse.
spouse. No, I'm just
Kharab na
kidding.
lage.
No, because there was Sushma was telling me, my wife, that they were taking interview of Jaya Bachchan. Says that, said, what do you say about Amitabh, right? He's a big personality, and he says, do you think now that, at this point, he needs to change a little bit so that, are you happy in the bed? He says, no. Whatever, I'm very happy, but I'm begging for him not to change anymore. Because if he changes, I'm going to have to change again. So equally, both sides, there is a problem. Trying to get used to the marriage is the toughest challenge you can have. But that's fine. But the challenge is a challenge only when you don't have solution. When you have solution, then challenge is not a challenge anymore. So we have to realize that living in a sansar is your ultimate litmus test. That's your laboratory. And so you want to be within sansar and reach to the arihant state. Because now the problem is arihant, state of arihant is described as a negative. So there is no calm, there is no growth, there is no lust, there is no suffering, there is no all those things, there is no quarrels in your mind, this and that. But then we have not really described arihant state, because you cannot describe. It's a state to be experienced. Everything that is divine cannot be described, because it's a state of experience. But for people like you and me, we can understand only the language of finite. So we have to give us, the language has to be given to us which is in a finite words. But infinite is totally inclusive. The toughest part comes in, say, okay, you can say, okay, how big is infinite? Infinite is infinite. But you're going to use the words of finite. It's like if there is a villager, right? The only thing he has known is a bullock cart. Now a guy comes from the city, and he says he has traveled in the plane, and he wants to describe the plane. The guy has never seen the picture, never heard of the plane or nothing. How is he going to do it? So naturally the villager will have curiosities. He's going to ask. He says, but how big is it? He says, no, it's very big. He says, like 10 bullock carts? He says, no. It's a lot bigger. You say 100 bullock carts? No, it's even bigger. I don't know, because his imagination doesn't go beyond that. He says, how fast does it go? He says, how much time does it take? He says, well, 2 hours. No, but it will take 10 seconds. How could that be? Because the bullock cart, my fastest bullock cart goes only this much, How can it go faster than that? So until you fly in the plane, you cannot have the experience of the speed and the size and the expanse of the plane that you are talking about. So mind fumbles because we know only the mind's state. So to realize the infinite says is the only thing you need to do is to become infinite. Because whatever you have known so far, everything from the time you are born till you are here at your stage, and whatever is going to happen in the future, whatever experience you're going to have, they all will be finite experiences, and yet infinite will be including all those things, all the galaxies, all the distant stars, or whatever you might have seen or experienced or heard or whatever you have thought of, is bigger than that. So then thoughts becomes less important. So that's why samadhi is a nistarang state. When the thoughts disappear, because thoughts were being used to prove myself better than you, because I know this and you don't, or vice versa. I used to feel inferior because somebody knows better than me. I can say, oh, my house is bigger, whatever. But it's all at the thought level. But when you become beyond the thoughts, you become thoughtless. That's where everybody is the same. So to experience that state, the infinite states, whatever is satyam, shivam, sundaram, all those things cannot be described. Can be described only in a negativistic way.
What it is not.
Whatever it is not, that's it.
Like how do you prove your innocence? It's impossible.
Exactly, right.
You can only prove your
See,
crime.
Right.
Anything you have to prove cannot be innocence.
You cannot be taught.
you
And if you try this, it's like love. You say you love someone. It's not, describe love. Well, I don't hate, I don't do this, I don't do that. But how do you describe love? It's an inner feeling. Until the love happens to you. And the moment you start describing love, no, I love her, I love him because of this, this is the way he keeps me good, or she keeps me this and that, then it's not love. It's a conditional love, but it's not true spiritual love. Without any conditions, whether the kid is deformed or is the most handsome looking kid in the world, mother loves the kid regardless. That is a little glimpse of what I'm talking about. So that infiniteness is beyond the description, and that's why that state is beyond the reach of a lot of people who insisting on living in the sansar and getting involved in the sansar. So you will still live in the sansar. Your body will function the functions in the sansar. Your mind will be still thinking, except you will be observing all these things. First, you had a goal that you thought you want to achieve something. You are fully involved and you know that you want certain thing. So your process starts and then your journey starts. So you are the traveler to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And then when you reach the goal, you said that you are the one who achieved the goal and you are happy. And if you didn't, you are the sufferer. So that is sansar. But if you can be a true observer and just observe the whole process and do the same thing, you enjoy selecting a goal, but goal at the mind level. You have nothing to do with that. Something that is worthy of keeping your peace intact. Once you experience that state of Brahma state, you are happy no matter what, then you don't even care about the results. You are continuously involved with your actions. You are there, but you are not there. You are an observer of all the actions, and when you win something, you go on to the next one. You don't even have great enjoyment because you are not the enjoyer anymore. You are the observer, and you can actually inside you could be laughing that, oh, look at the mind becoming so happy about the goals. So it's very tough state to reach, but with a little practice, it can come where you can observe the whole thing. All your actions, all the sansar that you're living in can be within you, but you are not within the sansara. It's almost like a leaf of a lotus. The water comes on it, but it's not in it. It just spills over. So that's what we talked about, Namokar to Arihant. That state is a negativistic state only for our facility. The next one is going to be Namo Siddhanam, which we will talk about next time. And so much for today.
Jai Gurudev.